All right, good evening, guys. Ken at Tortoise Capital, nightly strategy podcast for May 16th, 2023. Starting as usual with hybrid swing trading. This is Alcoa using 30-minute charts. This is the 10-day look back, 10 trading day look back period. There's 15 30-minute bars in each block, so that's 150 bars of look back. There's your 10-day high, 10-day low. This inner blue box is the 5-day. Okay. This red box is our standard risk. These are buys and sells. A black box is the trade itself. Yesterday we initiated the SSC in Alcoa. It closed well. Today it gapped down and we exited there for 1, 2. It's poised right at the edge of going into and just actually entered the winter. So if that fails, we would expect it to come to here as a routine move of similar size. That would not be surprising. And if that failed, we would expect it to come to the 10-day low. AI yesterday, we described that as the perfect storm, the perfect trade for 13R. Today, all it did was this, considerably different than the gap up and go. It ruined a lot of hopes and dreams in there. I'm interested in it to the short side now that it has broken through the PSAR and flipped. And now there's going to be a lot of people that made money all the way up that are hoping that it stays above that line. And if their hopes fail, then that fall could become winter pretty fast and take us all the way back down to 21. But if it holds tomorrow, and price does that, then there will be a fat COTA 2 in here somewhere with some kind of nice risk box like that. And then if it breaks above the 10-day high, it's long gone. So we might think of this trade like that, and 2 positions short. And if that fails, 3 positions short to here. Caterpillar, we closed yesterday when it could not hold those highs, so we exited here. Today it gapped down to here, sold off, came back up, hit the edge of the dragon and started to fail, and it moved into the winter on MACD. So we're short 1 position, holding that position overnight, and we're holding +1. I like it because it's below these previous support levels. Cliff, we closed yesterday. Yesterday this looked promising and closed here. Today it gapped down to here, so we took the minus 0.5 loss. Whereas we were holding +1, it gapped against us, so we took a 0.5 loss. Didn't trade it, although if this breaks tomorrow and the other metals are weak, this could be large to the downside. We'll see. CVS, we scratched the long. You know, we were long on the PSAR flip. We scratched it today when it rolled over. Took the short with the same risk box to the downside that we had to the upside, and that thing closed 4R in our favor. And I'm looking for that to be a high priority trade tomorrow of a continuation. Dish Network, we closed a 1R win. Devon Energy. So this was the one we spent a long time talking our way through how to frame this as the swing trade from here with conservative target here, conventional target 2 there, and the optimistic target there. You could think of that as target 1, 2, and 3. Even target, and with this much risk box on the 30-minute, even target 1 was a 2-to-1, and this was 6-to-1 or so, and that was about 10-to-1. But today, it gapped down, and we got out at a scratch. Considered the short, but didn't take it. Wished I had, but I wish all the time. No swing. The swing trade escapes with a scratch. EA started with a SSC in the usual way. Emerging markets. This was another one yesterday that I considered to be like the perfect trade, and exiting at the peak of enthusiasm. Today it gapped down into here, and so that would have turned that trade into a losing trade if we'd have kept that overnight. It closed poorly, and there's more to the downside available there. But on the other side, it's exactly at the price level where a bunch of people rushed in to buy it. So could this go up tomorrow? Yeah, it went up yesterday. When I say yesterday, I mean Friday. Or Monday, I mean. Yeah, sorry. Ethereum, we closed that one on the gap down in the PSAR flip and banked +2. Mexico. Let's zoom in a little bit to see this one. So what we did yesterday was had 3 positions on, and this is where it closed yesterday. Today it gapped here, sold off, we exited. It sold off further and came back, so we bought this one and basically scratched that. And then when it continued to fail through this long PSAR trail, we took the short with standard risk, earned 1R, and decided to cash it. And I'll take +1 because if tomorrow this continues, I know how to get back in. But if it finds support or gaps up, I know how to get long. So I didn't want to hold that one short overnight, and I'll just cash one. EWZ, on the other hand, was not as strong on the move, and those 2 positions we cashed. That's where it closed, and then it rolled over. So we exited today here, and then took the PSAR short, and it closed poorly. So we're holding about 3R, and I will add another position tomorrow, hoping to see it get down to, around 29.20. Intel, we closed the double long, did not take the short. IP, no trade. IYR, the real estate, we took that one. Here was the PSAR flip yesterday, closed right here. Today it gapped down below the collapsing dragon, so took a standard short with that risk. At the 3R battle drill, added a second position. It closed poorly, so that's it's holding 3R on the second one and 6R on the first one, so we're +9 on 2 positions, and the bottom of this thing is falling out. Look at it's winter, spring, winter. So this thing could really suffer tomorrow. If we look at that longer term, yeah, it has left all of this support behind. KRE initiated the short intraday on the PSAR flip. McDonald's, the long from yesterday, we took a .2 loss. Merck, yesterday's long we scratched. Marijuana, we tried an intraday caught a 2. It gapped up and kept going, so I bought some. It started off well and then started to decay, and that was a no lose plus dinner for 2 exit just to get out of it. There was no follow through. Clean energy. It also gapped, so we closed that one yesterday. It gapped down to here and sold off finally. Just had to take the short and cashed 0.5 just for professional satisfaction. Rivian, we scratched yesterday's SSC. The S&P was sideways and closed poorly. No trade. I initiated the like a 1, 2, 3 on treasuries. It was at a support level at around 102. It gave me a 1, 2, 3. So I'm trying that one with a standard risk. It closed with +1 in hand, and I'm hoping to see like a 50% retracement to 104, which would be 1, 2, 3, about a 4-hour move. I'd be happy with that. Tesla, no trade. U.S. Steel, we scratched yesterday's caught a 2. So we tried that one yesterday. It closed here. It gapped down to here. So we scratched out of it. It continued to fail through the dragon. So took that one with a standard short risk. And then cashed +1 near the close. Didn't want to hold that overnight at a price level where the last 2 times it has rebounded. I just wanted to cash +1. So that's the sniper trade, or that's the hybrid swings for today. Check or hold. Alrighty, let's go to the, is it this one? Yeah. Alright, this is the intraday sniper trade of the day. And so this was where it closed. So we're on a 3-minute chart now. And this is where it closed. It gapped down here, sold off quickly, rebounded up into here, and then closed. And so that establishes the OR3 here and here. And this yellow box represents the R10 MMRB. And this green line here represents the kind of the no lose plus dinner for 2 price level. So if this rascal can get north of that, but as it's crossing that line, my intention is to get my stop, which is here, just above my entry, so that I could lock in that little wedge and save my sanity. That's the no lose plus dinner for 2. And then this would be the 2R battle drill automatic second entry. Check or hold. So that's our standard trade frame. Oops. Stop doing that, Kenneth. Alrighty, so let's see what we got here. So it immediately fails, and we take the 1 hour loss. So I stop and reverse with -1. And it's the same risk box. Checker hold. Now, when it has fallen that far, I've got to get my risk out and probably be like right there in order to lock in that much gain. That's already locking in +1. So if this was -1 on the first trade, by locking that in, I'm back to scratch. Uh, it comes to the notice the this region in here was enough that it stopped failing like this and started failing like that, which was enough to turn it from the winter to the spring, but the R10 never came through the PSAR, and it crossed below this belly of the RL10, and I'm holding 1, 2, 3R. I'm +3, so I just add a second position. Checker hold. And standard exit at the PSAR. That's a 1, 2, 3 exit. And I want to keep that second position in the money. So 1, 2, 3, about 4 on the first one, and about 1 on the second one. So that's +5, and this -1. So we're net 4. Checker hold. It rolls over. I consider that a COTA 2 to the downside. Standard risk. Failure to fail further is information, so that's a no lose plus dinner for 2. It had 6 bars after it turned red to fail, and it did not. There's a PSAR flip. What would you call that entry pattern right there? SSC. Yep. Standard risk box. Now it's not a COTA 2 because it doesn't have a higher low. Exit for about 0.5. Does not fail. That is a COTA 2 reentry. That is a scratch exit and a stop and reverse short. Not quite a scratch, but it might as well be. No lose plus dinner for 2 exit. And I think that's probably enough for the day. No, one more. And one more. So let's see. This one and this one and that one probably all net out to nothing. So we were +4 from that series and probably +1 from this. So about 5 for the day. Time, will, pattern, and money. What's the whole market doing? What's the sector doing? How much time is left in the day? How much market money do I have from this trade? Where is it in my stack? I don't like to stop and reverse on the long side. Like if I have a really good trade that's working and it's a market leader, I don't like to stop and reverse that. I don't want to be short the thing that is now better than the rest of the market. But if it's failing, and now notice how the failure got a little flattened out, and by this time we are above the Red River and close to getting into the summer. Look at how far this thing fell from here to there, and how far it fell to here, and how it's running out of steam to the downside. Where is the fail stat? How far did it fail from the opening? This is a normal region for it to stall. And it's already going into the quietude of the lunch. I'll give that a try. Now notice that was not an immediate stop and reverse. That was 10 minutes later, after the full PSAR flip. And on that one, I'm going to exit right here anyway. So I'm only going to take a 0.5 loss. If that thing fails, I want to be short fast anyway, so I'm really only risking that. Okay, so let's look at the traders. Here's Damien doing some very good work here. It closed here, sold off to there, comes up to the edge of the dragon and begins to fail. So he gets short, standard risk. Comes down here, the RL10 crosses the baby dragon. The harsh winter was over. Cashes probably 0.1, or cashes about 1R. Later in the day, he sees PSAR flipped. It failed immediately. What would we call that entry? Starts with a K. Caught it 2. And here's where the collapsing dragon entry would be. He got it at the PSAR flip, and that's a kata 2 to the downside. And this is he cashes, he sees 2, and he just collects 2. So this must have been 0.6, not 1.0. So 2 from this one and 0.6 from there. 2.6 on 2 trades. Good frame of mind while trading all day. Just like that. Constantine. This is the dollar Canadian on 2 minutes. Notice that noise level sells off to here. This is where the U.S. market comes online. He takes the like a double bottom PSAR flip 2.9. Notice this is where it starts to stall after that initial surge. Tim does some really nice work here. Intel +1 tries the OR3 breakout, gives him a fraction. It fails down through the belly of the dragon. He gets short, gives a lot back. Like, I'd like to see when you're down here, I'd like to see you take a 1, 2, 3 or the edge of the dragon, or when the RL10 rolls over and crosses the baby dragon, getting out anywhere in here. You were able to keep that much out of a maximum favorable excursion of that much. So I'd like to see you tighten up a little bit. I like the long entry. He got what was available and moved on. Devon Energy. So this is the turbo trade on the short that you saw that we scratched when it failed down to here. So he gets short on the OR3 and cash 2.5. Trusting the PSAR. Advanced Micro 4.9. So he does 8.5 today. There's a gap up and go. Risk box, buys it, cashes it, re-enters on the COTA 2, catches a fraction. That's 8. Knocking on wood. This is the Dow. This is, I think, Brian. Basically a scratch day today. Here's a gap down sell off. It failed to fail further, so he puts that risk box on it, gets out basically a scratch. I think you could be short here. He waits for the collapsing dragon. I don't hate that. Micro loss. I think a little, yeah, could be short here instead of here. Great exit. I like the SSC. I love the exit. That's worth a shot. And we might have stayed too long. We could maybe have gotten out here instead. So I think you got what was pretty much available, except for that. That's the only micro improvement that I can see. One R net on this one. Tries the short. Quick loss. Gets paid. Scratch. Nets 1. Red. PSAR flip. He gets long. Takes the loss. And you see that? When this does not work, and this is the primary trend, can we just be short here and exit here and then get short again? Probably take a loss, get short again, and get paid. Now here's your PSAR flip, 2 legs. Does crush this one. There's a COTA 2, there's an SSC, and there's a COTA 2 short. So 2.1 could have been 6, but we're not going to sniff at 2. We'll take 2. Aussie dollar. Oh, saints preserve us. Z3 pinch. breakdown out of the Z3. Please, please help an old fat man. Now that's a perfect SSC. That's leg 1. Here's a kata 2, leg 2. Here's a kata 2 and scratch. So I'm thinking that's a 1, 2, 3. There was probably +3 on this one and maybe another +1. Trust the PSAR. This is Henry Hub Natural Gas Futures. PSAR flip. This is like a fake 1, go 2. So he gets 2 or gets 4. And yeah, that's where the reasonable exit could have been. And there's a kata 2 and a kata 2. So if this is 4, there was another 8 available, and probably 2 in here, and probably 4 in here. Wow. Constantine gets the gold dollar pair out of the congestion zone on the collapse here for 6. He uses the 3-minute charts for entries and a stop loss on his 5 minutes, so he gives it a little bit more slack on the management. So this is the Dow on the 3s. Here's a gap down. When this rolls over like that, we might consider that as a collapsing dragon there. We might consider it because it is. And here's a confirmation. That might have even been a second entry. And then if you get 2 positions on, you take your exit when it hits the edge of the dragon. So I think there's a trade in there. Even if it's just 1 position, we'll get paid. Now, I then want to notice belly of the R10, belly of the R10. Here's where your PSAR flip occurs. So we might have been able to get a little better on the entry, but still that's pretty good. When this fails immediately, that's a pretty good exit. I like the short and the exit. I like waiting. That's just unfortunate. When this failed to fail 4 times, we might have been able to stop and reverse there. But I also appreciate the logic behind this, that it had cleared the previous Z3, and it makes you now feel like all of this chop is gone and it's going to do that. I like the discipline. I like keep firing short. And then it seems like that should have been better. If that was a 2. Oh, you may have gotten out here. I'm sorry. Yeah. Not all bad. Boy, Brazil. I think that's yesterday's close. Gap up. And now when this whole thing resolves to the downside, and there's a PSAR flip right there, we shouldn't lose money on that trade. Then when you see lower highs, we should be able to get short right about there. And then exit either here or here. I like that as the long. I love the stop, and I would make that a stop and reverse, especially after you just saw that. But still, this is pretty good. And I'd like to see you get out at the edge of the dragon in here. Still, that's not bad. And I like this short. What happened to my... Just a minute. Something... All right, I don't know what happened there. All right, the cues. Um, this and DIA, I want you to notice the time of day that you're trading. Is you're not trading during the big moves of the day, but you are trading in the river during the middle of the day and you're getting chewed up. So the bigger moves happen in that first 2 hours. You're building up repetitions and cardiovascular fitness here. So keep firing. All right, let's see. Let's get to dashboard 1 here. There we go. Bullish quiet, had some weakness over the last 2 days. Still showing risk off from volatility. Tons of opportunities on the short side here, with especially weakness in 3M, Verizon, DuPont, and Devon Energy. Just about everything, or a good half of them, on auto framers. Lots of 5DDs today. So we're getting to an extreme condition with lots of 5DDs in a young bull. That could lead to some shocking volatility. Interestingly, U.S. tech wasn't bad, but real weakness in metals and mining, real estate, Brazil, energy. Usual suspects. The Godzilla, especially noteworthy today. All this weakness of the past few days has now produced quite a list to chew on. Here's the ones that are enraged. And here's the ones that just started to make their sharp move out of a 5-day quiet period. So Amgen, ARE is a little real estate guy, Archer Daniel Midlands, Peak Technologies. Those are very interesting. DBC on the tactical symbol set is a stealthy Godzilla. Let's see. Mostly the winter and fall, but there's a few items like tech and Brazil and Mexico in the summer. This tells you really how broad-based the weakness was. Two shorts we've been exploiting. And then all of this weakness. Woo. U.S. tech, the only favorable sign for miles around. And there's your top 5 and your top 10 based on trading value, consisting of large daily ranges and strong consistency from the frog. These two here, with their very strong frog numbers, NVIDIA and clean energy, certainly on the radar. All right, that's everything we got for today. We'll get this published and posted, and we will catch you tomorrow.